chiropractor. I'm not speaking to you from the positioning of a PhD in sexuality, and I haven't written any journal articles about it. I'm not a conventionally trained psychotherapist, counselor, anything like that. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. I'm very unconventional, and some people that might turn them off, and other people who've tried conventional methods to change the narrative of their relationships hasn't really been adequate. It's been very slow moving. Those are the people who seem to migrate towards my work, are people who have already done the conventional stuff, which is great. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I'm a dude who's connected some dots. My background is in chiropractic, and I discovered very, very quickly within my career, probably within the first 10 years of my career, that people coming in with health issues are dealing with something far deeper. And within the 15-year mark, I started putting the pieces together that attachment trauma was at the helm. There was a breakdown in relationships. So relationships, they break down. And as a relationship breaks down, it impacts your body and your physiology, because relational breakdowns in, romantic partnerships from your 20s on, they hurt. They leave a stain on your nervous system, but they're not new. They're actually remnants. You can find remnants and evidence of these attachment traumas from your past in childhood. And we unconsciously have these attachment traumas from childhood. The experience of not feeling seen and heard and really held emotionally. We didn't get that experience. Often. I'm not saying everybody, unless you had unicorn parents that were trauma informed and did their own kind of trauma healing work. Most of the time, our unconscious parenting leads that trauma to get passed down to children without even knowing, right? And because of those complexes that are formed in childhood, our nervous systems get wired to start to take on these roles and take on these behavioral patterns. And unconsciously, we seek out partners that remind us of these old woundings, and they kind of match the wounding of our childhood, causing us to relive them again and again and again. There's a reason, because unconsciously, that sexual energy from an incomplete kind of relational dynamic with mom and dad, we're bonded to that trauma. We're energetically bonded to the trauma, the hurt, the woundings of our past. So we unconsciously seek the same type of person who's going to elicit the exact same dynamic. It sounds f***ed up, doesn't it? But that's exactly what happens. This is exactly what relationships are all about. They're here to help us observe them, to see them, so that we can, through the use of some intentional practices, heal those wounds and transcend that bond that we have from our past and create a new relationship, create a new identity. And anything that we don't heal, we repeat. We either evolve over it or we repeat. If you've ever experienced dating the same person, falling in the same pattern, you're now in a space of repeating. And then you're going to repeat it for the rest of your life, hoping that this new person is going to come in and save me. But then you end up repeating it unless we do the heroic thing and resolve those unconscious enmeshment patterns from our past and rise up and become a different person that's now consciously choosing from consciousness rather than choosing from our trauma. That's essentially the background that I'm going to give you. And if we don't heal those, we're going to keep repeating them as a universe's kinky attempt to help us find what's incomplete and finally heal it within ourselves. Essentially, it always comes back to ourselves. Every single client in our Cycle Breakers programs, every single person, every single student in our work, literally, no matter how old they are, no matter what gender, what religion, what part of the world, they all come back to the same thing. It's like, wow, it was me that I abandoned myself when my mother wasn't holding me emotionally. I wasn't feeling held emotionally, and I ended up abandoning myself.